Smoke hangs under the roof long before the sun is fully up. The fire has been kept alive through the night, banked under ash, and now a woman kneels close to it, coaxing the embers into flame. The room is dark, low, and crowded. A child shifts on the straw bedding. The smell of wood smoke, damp earth, and animals fills the air. Outside, frost still grips the ground, and the fields lie pale and hard. The household rises not because it is ready, but because daylight demands it. In this world, time is not measured by clocks. It is measured by light, weather, and bells. Delay costs labor, and labor is survival. The man of the house pulls on rough wool clothing that has been patched many times. He opens the door and steps into the cold to check the animals. A cow shifts in its pen. A pig roots in the mud. These creatures are wealth, food, and future labor. Losing one can mean hunger months later. As he walks the edge of the yard, he presses soil between his fingers. The ground is stiff, but not frozen solid. That matters. The timing of plowing and sowing depends on soil, not dates. He listens for the village bell. When it rings, work begins. When it rings again, obligations change. Bells call people to fields, to church, and to the Lord's court. They regulate life as firmly as law. This village sits somewhere in Western Europe between the 11th and 13th centuries. The exact place is not named, but the structure is familiar across England, northern France, or found in parts of the Holy Roman Empire. It is a manorial settlement. Land, authority, and justice are tied to an estate controlled by a lord. The family here does not own most of what it works. They hold land by custom. Some families are unfree tenants, legally bound to the estate. Others are poor free peasants, but freedom does not mean independence. Both owe rent, labor, and obedience. No written contract governs this relationship for most people. Rights and duties are remembered, spoken, and enforced by tradition. The Lord's court, held periodically, settles disputes and punishes failure. The threat is not prison, but fines, loss of land use, or extra labor. These penalties matter because margins are thin. The land that keeps this family alive does not lie in one place. It is divided into narrow strips, scattered across open fields. Each household works several strips spread out among those of neighbors. This arrangement is deliberate. Good soil and poor soil are shared. Risk is spread. If one area floods or fails, another may still yield grain. The cost is control. No one decides alone when to plow or harvest. Fields are worked according to a common schedule. This shared system shapes every decision. When the village agrees to plow, everyone plows. When grazing is allowed, animals are turned out together. Individual choice gives way to collective survival. The system limits ambition, but it prevents disaster for most years. Archaeological field patterns and medieval court records confirm how widespread and stable this arrangement was. The tools used are basic, but they are not trivial. An iron plowshare is valuable, and not every household owns one. Often, it is shared. Wooden harrows break clods of soil. Sickles cut grain at harvest. These tools are repaired, sharpened, and reused until they fail completely. Iron is costly. Wood is shaped by hand. Nothing is wasted. The house itself is a single room built from timber frames packed with wattle and daub. The floor is earth. There is no chimney. Smoke escapes through the roof or the open door. Animals are kept close, sometimes inside or against the walls, especially in winter. Their body heat helps keep the space warm. The cost is filth, parasites, and disease. This is not ignorance, it is calculation. Knowledge here is practical and inherited. No one reads agricultural manuals. Literacy is rare and mostly confined to clergy and officials. Instead, people learn by watching and doing. When to plow, when to sow, how to judge clouds and wind. These skills pass from parent to child. Memory replaces writing. Routine replaces theory. Even in these early hours, limits are clear. The best land belongs to the Lord and is worked first when labor is owed. If a family fails to appear when called, it is noticed. Fines follow. Custom allows little argument. The day moves forward under obligation, not choice. As the bell rings and people gather their tools, the rhythm of survival takes hold again, shaped by land, weather, and power. The frost of early spring has receded, leaving fields soft and wet. The family moves from house to field carrying tools and seed. The father guides the oxen, pulling a wooden plow through the heavy soil while the mother sows grain by hand along the freshly turned furrows. Each movement is deliberate and learned. Mistakes can mean the difference between a full granary and hunger in the winter months. Neighbors work alongside them. The rhythm of planting is shared. The village organizes who works which strip of land on which day. Delay by one household can slow the entire field and jeopardize the season. Grain is the foundation of survival. Barley and rye are common, hardy, and reliable. Wheat is rare and reserved for the wealthiest households. Every kernel sown is accounted for. The harvested grain must be threshed, winnowed, and ground at the Lord's mill. The miller takes a portion as payment, and a tithe is owed to the church. The family's share is carefully measured and stored in clay jars, sacks, and bins. Improper storage can invite rodents or moisture, risking the entire winter supply. Bread will sustain them through long months when fresh food is scarce. Without it, survival is uncertain. Meals follow necessity rather than taste. Breakfast begins with a small portion of coarse bread and a cup of weak ale or water. Midday brings pottage, a thick stew of vegetables, occasionally enriched with milk, cheese, or eggs. Meat is rare. A pig or chicken may provide protein, but only on feast days or when the household can afford to kill an animal. Even then, portions are small, carefully rationed, and shared among everyone. Children eat whatever remains after adults have filled their bellies. Each meal reflects the season, the success of recent work, and the household's management of resources. Clothing is functional, patched repeatedly, and often homespun from wool processed during winter evenings. Linen shirts are prized but uncommon. Shoes are sturdy, but repaired until they fall apart. Every stitch matters. Wealth cannot be accumulated easily, so durability and careful maintenance preserve what little the family owns. The village operates as a system. Common ovens allow bread to be baked collectively. Shared grazing lands prevent overuse of pastures. Disputes are settled in the manorial court, where the lord or steward enforces customary rules. Compliance is not optional. Fines or extra labor follow neglect. The church shapes time as much as the bell. Its rhythm punctuates labor, marking holy days that suspend work and enforce attendance. A tithe takes a tenth of the harvest, reducing the household's surplus. These obligations are constant. The family measures survival against them daily. Knowledge and labor are inseparable. The father judges rain, wind, and soil by sight and touch. The mother adjusts planting depth by feel. Children begin work almost as soon as they can walk. They carry small baskets, tend animals, and imitate older siblings. Elderly family members contribute where they can, but are vulnerable if illness or injury strikes. Everybody, young or old, has a role. There is no downtime, no leisure beyond the minimal. Risks are immediate and unforgiving. A late frost can destroy young shoots. Rain can flood fields or wash away stored grain. Epidemic disease spreads quickly among livestock and humans alike. Illness reduces labor, causing a domino effect that can threaten the household's entire survival. Lordly demands for extra labor or taxes can strain resources further. Aid comes from neighbors or the village, but it is limited. The margin between sufficiency and famine is narrow, and every decision in planting, tending, and storing reflects the constant calculation needed to survive the seasons. Each day, each harvest, shapes whether the family endures or falters. The days have shortened, and frost returns to the fields. Work in the open air slows as winter grips the village. The family moves indoors earlier, carrying tools and supplies from the barns and sheds. The father sharpens the plowshare and repairs the wooden harrow. Broken handles are replaced with timber cut from the nearby woodlot. The mother sets herself to spinning wool at the spinning wheel, twisting fibers into thread that will be woven into cloth for clothing and bedding. Every task is tied to survival. The work inside supports life outside. Animals must be fed, shelters repaired, and stores counted. Winter is not rest, it is maintenance. Animals represent the household's future. Cows, pigs, and chickens must be kept alive through frost and snow. Their dung is collected and stored for use as fertilizer on the fields in spring. Without careful attention, soil fertility diminishes, and next year's harvest suffers. Survival follows a chain of cause and effect. Feed these livestock now, and they provide milk, meat, and manure later. Fail, and both winter and spring may bring disaster. The village relies on this careful cycle. Custom, experience, and shared knowledge dictate what must be done, often repeated in the same way year after year. Inside the house, conditions are harsh. Smoke fills the room even when the fire is stoked just enough to keep warmth. Damp creeps through walls of wattle and daub. Fleas, lice, and other parasites are common. Illness spreads quickly and often leaves few options. Medical care is rudimentary. Herbs are boiled for poultices. Prayers are offered to saints. Endurance is the most reliable form of treatment. Families learn to live with discomfort because it cannot be eliminated entirely. Food must be carefully rationed. Grain stores are measured, and bread is baked sparingly. Vegetables stored in pits or cellars supplement diets. Dairy continues where animals remain productive. Meat is a rare luxury reserved for feast days or when an animal can be spared without jeopardizing next year's labor. Every bite of food represents planning, labor, and risk. Success is modest. Making it through winter intact is itself a form of achievement. Seed grain remains untouched for the next season. Debts to the Lord have been paid, obligations fulfilled, and the household endures. Fear is constant but quiet. Hunger, frost, illness, and the demands of the Lord shape daily life. Choice is limited. Custom governs who works, when, and where. Social mobility is rare. Even free peasants rarely rise above modest subsistence. The system protects the village and the Lord's interests, but it also confines those who live within it. Survival is continuity. Improvement is an uncertain hope, not a daily reality. As night falls, the fire dims. Smoke drifts toward the low roof and fills the small room. Animals settle close for warmth. The family huddles together on straw and wool, sharing heat and guarding against cold. The wind moves through gaps in the walls. Outside, the world is dark and silent except for the occasional cry of livestock or the distant tolling of a church bell. Tomorrow will come with the same cycle of obligations, tasks, and careful calculation. Fields must be tended, animals fed, and stores monitored. The rhythm of survival is unbroken. The household sleeps within it, enduring as their ancestors did, guided by experience, necessity, and the unchanging demands of the seasons.